Hi. All right. Sorry, I had to. All right. Hello out there. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so I usually give people a few minutes to join us. Sometimes we have some stragglers. This is the first time I've done it on a Monday evening. Last time I did it on a Wednesday evening. Still trying to get the days, what day works the best. What ends up happening though, I do upload these videos to my YouTube. So people can always watch it later, and it stays on my timeline, and so people can always watch it. So if you're not joining us right now for the live, you can always see this video at another time, okay? So give people another couple of minutes. Are we okay, ladies, and comfortable?
Yes, definitely.
Well, I am so excited tonight to have our guests with us. We have some very special guests, and I'm actually going to let them introduce themselves to you because that's what this show is about. It's who can help. And so I want you to know all about our guests today, what they do, what their discipline is, and I think you'll learn a lot tonight. So I'm very, very excited. For those of you joining us for the first time for the Hour of Breakthrough, the Hour of the Breakthrough is actually a monthly segment that I do presenting mental health topics to our communities. And I think it's really helpful because there are a lot of people that don't really know or understand sort of what some aspects of mental health are. And so this provides education to our community about mental health topics. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and I try to do it monthly. No matter what's going on, I try to make sure that I present a topic that I think could be helpful to the community. So without further ado, I would like to introduce both Angela Hill, who is an LCPC with a CAMS 2 certification, and we also have Amaris Watson-Gale, who is a LCSW-C? LCSW-C, sorry.
Okay, that's what they call it in DC, I believe.
Okay, so it depends on what state you're in. So I'm going to let them talk in a little bit. Oh, we lost our viewer. Okay. Talk a little bit.
It's all good. It's all good.
Come back. Okay. So who do we want to have start first? Do you want Angela?
I can start first.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Angela Hill. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor.
Is that what LCPC stands
Yes,
for? Okay.
it does. I am the owner and primary therapist for Therapy Works by Angela Hill, located in Odenton and in Largo as well.
Awesome. So what does someone in that arena of mental health do? What do LCPCs do?
Well, we provide psychotherapy. We also can diagnose according to the DSM-5. We do treatment plans. You'll find us in a host of places, private practice, community mental health centers, nonprofit organizations, universities, schools, even in the government. But so we mainly provide psychotherapy, though, and have the power to diagnose if we have to or if we need to.
Awesome. So you guys are pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We can be, yeah.
Okay, so specifically, Angela, what is your area of practice? What do you do? I know you have your own private practice in Odenton and Largo.
Yes.
Orlandover. Largo,
Mm-hmm.
right. So what are your areas of specialty? What do you practice?
Mostly anxiety, depression, stress-related issues.
Okay.
But I love working with couples, so I do a lot of couples work and marital work. I'm a certified Prepare and Enrich facilitator for premarital counseling as well. So that's my favorite, working with the couples, but I do individual as well.
Okay, awesome. So Angela, how long have you been in the field? How long have you been practicing?
Forever, I feel like. I have been in the counseling and therapy field probably for about 18 years now.
Does she even look 18, y'all?
Thank you. But I always joke with my clients and tell them that that's all I know. All I know is counseling and therapy. I started practicing in terms of studying. I did it I had an undergrad in psychology, and then got my master's in marriage and family therapy. So literally hit the ground running when I got out of undergraduate, started working in the counseling field. So I've done it all my life. I don't know anything else, but I love it. I love what I do.
Awesome. So are you an LMFT too?
No,
Okay.
no. Okay. LCPC for right now. Working on that LMFT though.
Okay, wow. Awesome. So we talked about your schooling. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Angela. We will be coming back to you. All right. So Amaris, if I could ask you the same questions.
Sure.
What does your credentials mean? LSWC. Can you tell us what that is?
So sure, LCSW-C. So it stands for Licensed Certified Social Worker Clinical. So I'm a clinical social worker.
Okay.
So yes, my graduate training is in social work, but I'm trained to diagnose and treat mental and emotional issues.
Oh,
so
wow.
anxiety, depression, life adjustments, just anything related to mental health that causes mental health symptomology to, rise and fall.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Where do people with that particular credential work?
So a lot of places, as she said, LCSWCs, they're everywhere. Schools, hospitals, social service agencies, the government, private practice, group practice. Yeah, and I'm sure more that I haven't named. They're there.
Wow. I think it's interesting. I think sometimes people think that when they think of social work, they think of like foster care. Or they think
they're there too, and
yeah.
TFC, treatment foster care, definitely.
Yeah. So people sometimes don't realize.
Right.
The same thing for LCPCs.
Right.
I don't think people realize the scope of what you guys do and where you can be found, like anywhere.
Yeah,
Sounds like.
definitely,
Right.
definitely.
That's great. Excuse me. So specifically, Amaris, what do you do? What are your areas of specialty?
So I focus on emotional wellness in high-achieving millennial women, so 18 to 35, who have issues, with maintaining harmony, inner harmony, and balance. So they come in with issues such as anxiety, consistent fear, restlessness, insomnia, things like that, excessive worry, doubt. Those type of things, in addition to premarital. So I like couples work as well, but more so the before you get married piece. Yeah, so I'm also trained as a prepare and rich facilitator. Yeah, so I also use that in combination with Gottman research, some Susan Johnson emotion-focused therapy, things like that.
Let's see if we have a question here. Oh, no, that's my husband. Hi, babe. How you doing?
So supportive.
Okay, great. Now, I'm not sure if I asked you this, but what type of schooling and experience, and I'm going to come back to you too, Angela, because I don't think I asked that last question. What type of schooling / experience do you need to have to do what you're doing?
So 4 years of undergraduate in a social science related field, 2 years of graduate as a master of social work. And then after that, you get your license. No, I'm sorry. Let me back up. During graduate school, you need, I don't know the exact amount of hours, but it's 2 days of an internship for the first year, 2 full days. And then for the second year, it's 3 full days.
Wow.
So after you do all of that, the 4 years undergraduate, the 2-year degree, graduate degree, you graduate, you get your licensure, which was, when I graduated, it was the LGSW, so Licensed Graduate Social Worker.
Okay.
But that's since changed to the Licensed Master of Social Work.
Okay.
So they get the licensure. I think you need about 144 hours of clinical supervision.
Okay.
And then you sit for the second test, which is the Licensed Clinical Social Worker exam.
Wow.
So yeah,
that sounds like a lot of schooling and a lot of like a lot of in terms of studying for boards and things like that to get the licensure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Angela, can I ask you the same question? What type of training did you have to have, and type of schooling did you have to have?
Very much similar. So your undergraduate degree should be in a social science, and then your graduate degree should be in a counseling or therapy related field. For us, we have internship and practicum, which you will accumulate your hours. And then from there, you would take the national exam, and pretty much you would have to take the Maryland law exam as well. That will get you your LCPC.
Okay.
And then once you do that, you still need at least 2 years of postgraduate work.
Oh, wow.
Clinical supervision hours. So you have to be supervised, and you need 2 years of that. So you need 3,000 hours, if I'm still correct. It's been a while, but total of 3,000 hours in the state of Maryland. So 2 years of that has to be postgraduate. So
it's quite a bit of training.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. You said something, LGPC. What is that?
That is the Licensed Graduate Professional Counselor.
Okay.
And so what that means is that they've obtained the education that's needed, but they've sat for the national exam. You still just need to pursue the 2 years postgraduate work.
I see. So if someone were to look into psychology today and they were to see someone was an LGPC or an LMSW, what should they be aware of?
That they are receiving supervision. They're still accumulating hours toward their permanent licensure, but they are receiving supervision from someone that is licensed.
Okay, so they could see you. They're trained to see you. Like they have all this experience, and they, I think in some cases, have sat for an exam. And
the initial, for social workers.
And the national exam, the Maryland law exam.
But they have that final step of the 2,000 hours or however many hours, of supervision,
postgraduate supervision hours.
But they are trained and they could see people.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
And that their information would be shared with the supervisor.
Right.
That's important to know.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. Looks like we have someone else joining us. Hi, Yvonne. Thanks for joining us. Okay. So both of you, I'm going to start with Angela. What is unique about your discipline? How are you different from a psychiatrist, for example, or a life coach?
So for a psychiatrist, they're doctors and they're able to prescribe medication, which we are not. I think for life coaching, it's just life coaches are trained as well. I just don't believe that there are regulations yet in the state of Maryland for life coaches. So we have a Maryland Board of Counselors that we have to abide by certain ethical rules and laws. So I think that for LCPCs, we have that stringent rule through the board that we follow. And then, like I said, we're not allowed to prescribe medication, though. So,
thank you. Amaris, do you want to add anything to that of the differences? How you see?
Sure. So, like she said, we don't prescribe medication either. And I think one of the main differences between us and a life coach is that there's an emphasis on the reduction of mental health symptoms.
Right.
So there's a focus on eliminating that anxiety, that depression, that insomnia, that worry, that type of thing.
Okay, so what advice, start with Angela, would you offer someone who is looking for a mental health provider? Are there certain questions they should ask themselves or the potential provider as their...
Absolutely. I think it should be a good fit. I tell people all the time, when you always ask for a consultation to make sure you're a good fit for each other. But it is an interview for us when we have a new client to come in. Ask questions. Make sure you find out everything you need to know, such as, even down to office hours. Do you see clients in the evenings? What is your theoretical orientation? What kinds of interventions would you recommend for someone who comes in with, my symptoms? Ask detailed questions. We don't take it personal. We don't take offense. And I normally say, like I said, it should be a good fit. You should feel comfortable talking to your therapist. And if it's not a good fit, like I said, we don't take it personal. And most often we will help you find that good fit. We will, try to give some more resources if it's not. But I think it should be an interview for us as well.
Okay, thank you.
I think another thing is just to make sure whoever you choose, just make sure they specialize in what your specific problem is. I always tell my clients, like, if you see somebody who specializes in like 10 to 15 different things, you might not want to, go in that direction. So just find someone who focuses on what you need, and then as she says, their theoretical orientation supports, the need that you have. So insurance, you want to ask about insurance versus private pay. You want to ask about their scheduling. Like if you feel like you're going to meet once a week before you go in there, you want to make sure they have the availability to do that. So and one way you can figure out like what their specialty is just by reading their bio. Therapy for Black Girls offers that, Psychology Today, goodtherapy.org. Just see if it speaks to you and resonates with you. And also, as she said, the consultation. Which is most of the time, I find that therapists do that over the phone.
Mhm.
I know that some clients call and ask for a face-to-face consultation. I don't do that. I haven't ran across many therapists who do. So most of the time, I think you'll get like a 15 to 30-minute consult phone over the phone. That's free of charge.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it
just so you
should
can
be.
ask your questions, the therapist can ask you questions,
Right.
and you all can have that open dialogue
Yes.
before you decide to schedule an
I
appointment.
agree. Mhm. Absolutely.
So you both use the words theoretical orientation. I think some of our viewers might not know what that means. Can you shed some light on that? Theoretical orientation. What does that mean?
Sure. It's basically a treatment approach that's backed by science and research. So that's one of the things that differentiates a therapist as well, just what's guiding the treatment approach. So an example of it may be cognitive behavioral therapy, emotion-focused therapy,
Yes.
solution-focused therapy,
Right.
psychodynamic therapy, just to name a few. So you just want to make sure that they are using, something. And even some people I know still use traditional talk therapy, which is fine. You just need to know what they offer will help you
Right.
relieve, your symptoms and lead you closer towards your healing.
Right. And ask questions.
Mhm.
Absolutely ask questions. I mean, we know what cognitive behavioral therapy is,
Mhm.
but if you walk into an office and you don't know, please feel free to ask.
And most of the time, therapists, I see it on their bio, so
Mhm.
they'll have it outlined what
Right.
treatment approach they specialize in. I know Psychology Today gives a little section where you can emphasize that
Yes.
when the potential client comes on
Mhm.
and does the research.
Great. So hopefully you guys are getting some helpful information. All right, great. What would you tell someone who may be interested in going into the field? I guess I'll start with Angela. What would you tell someone? What characteristics / traits might be important to have before going into this field?
Definitely people skills and a sense of empathy. I think that's the most important, but I would tell someone to do your research. Make sure you know what the field is about. There's so many different areas that you can go into, so explore those areas to see if it's a fit for you. But I also say make sure you stay current in your field of study. Things change quickly, and they're always changing. So even though I've been in the field for a long time, I'm learning something new every day. So just make sure you stay current and get those education requirements and see what's the best fit for you.
Thank you. And what about you, Amaris? What would you advise someone who is interested in pursuing this type of work? What sort of characteristics do you think they need to have?
So definitely the soft skills, the empathy, the ability to provide compassion, to nurture, to care for, and a certain level of, I would say, boundaries, like self-awareness and boundaries, because it's easy to get, caught up in emotion. It can be, and if you don't have that self-awareness to know when it's happening, the client-therapist relationship may become a little blurred.
Right.
So definitely the soft skills, the self-awareness, and just, as she said, just knowing which area you want to go into or what your areas of interest are.
I think that's really important. I think sometimes people, like for example with psychology, I think that sometimes people think that all psychologists are relationship experts, or all psychologists do developmental psychology where they're working with kids, and not everybody is an expert at everything.
Right.
And so I think it's important to recognize that and to be aware of that.
Definitely.
Right.
And what you're interested in and pursuing that, narrowing your focus, getting that niche. So.
I agree. I think there's a level of awareness too that you have to have, because a lot of times, we have to be able to meet our clients where they are, and also making sure and being very aware and cautious that we're not putting our goals onto the clients. So we have to just have a level of awareness too, and make sure we're present, as we work with our client and go on this journey with them. So
And you don't want more for them than they want for themselves.
Exactly.
At least if you do, it doesn't resonate in the treatment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're working harder than the patient.
Right.
So, good stuff, ladies. Now, this is sort of a personal question. Are you satisfied with your career choice? Let's start with Amaris. Do you think are you pleased with, this path that you chose for your life professionally?
Definitely. I love it. I love it. And I can tell that I'm satisfied because, you know, it energizes me and I'm inspired to learn more, you know, pursue it further, commit my life to it ultimately. So I'm definitely satisfied with it. I wouldn't change it.
Awesome. And then what about you, Angela?
Absolutely. Like I said, I know nothing else. So I love what I do, and you know, I am very fortunate that I have private practice and I run it every day, but it doesn't feel like work because I love what I do. It's a passion. So it's like I'm living my passion every day. So I'm definitely satisfied with my line of work.
That's
Absolutely.
great to hear you guys say that. That's awesome. Okay, so this is another sort of personal question. Start with Amaris again. Okay. You know, in this work, we care so much for people in our professional lives. Like, we give a lot of ourselves to other people. How do you practice self-care in your personal life?
I think one of the things I do is nurturing myself, mind, body, and spirit. So I'm very conscious of what I'm consuming from a physical level, like what I'm eating, especially during the times where I know that I have to, you know, meet with a client or perform something that takes, you know, high cognitive capacity shortly after or, you know, the morning after. So that's one of the things, nurturing my spirit as it relates to prayer and meditation, and just my mind, just being conscious of, you know, the things that I'm thinking about, what I'm not thinking about, and things like that. Yeah, and setting limits, compartmentalizing, not taking work home, even though I want to. Yeah, I really want to, but you know, I just have to be intentional about leaving it at the office so that I can maximize my personal, my home life as much as possible and be the best for them, my clients, you know, when I show up on the next day.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you, Amaris. Angela, what would you say to that question?
I say very much similar. It is hard. I'm going to be very honest. It's hard because you get used to helping people and, you know, working with people and being around people all the time. So it can be difficult because you care so much for your clients that it's hard sometimes to draw the line and take care of yourself. But same, I try to schedule my self-care time. I'm very intentional about it. Whether it's weekly, monthly, whatever it is, I try to be very intentional. One of the things that keeps me grounded with my self-care is that I preach it to my clients.
Yes.
I make sure I make them aware of the importance of self-care. So I have to practice what I'm telling my clients to do, and I'm big on that. So I try to make sure that I have time in, and like you said, you know, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and I also tell my clients that absolutely therapy is self-care. So that is a part. Therapists have therapists.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely.
right.
I forgot that.
So
Definitely.
I think so I always say, you know, that's self-care as well. That falls under the umbrella. So
Great. All right. Well, I don't have any additional questions. I'm really glad that you know, both Angela and Amaris were here today. Thank you so much for being
for
here.
having us. It's great.
Yeah, I really just wanted people to know that, because I think sometimes people, you know, they're familiar with psychologists and they're familiar with psychiatrists, but they don't realize that there are other people that can help. And, you know, our trainings are similar.
Right.
You know, very, very much similar.
Right.
What you guys describe that you do, I do too. You
Right.
know? So these ladies are beyond qualified to help. And I think that I just really wanted folks to know that there are more options than just, you know, a psychologist or a psychiatrist or, you know, whoever else people are more familiar with going to. So I hope this was helpful for you all that watched. Does anyone have any questions? Would anyone like to pose a question? Okay. Well, are either of you ladies accepting new clients?
I am close to it. Probably in about another month, I will be accepting some new clients. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm close.
Okay.
I'm very close.
Okay. So do you have like a waiting list or something, if perhaps?
I do.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. If you know, if that's something that you're interested in, I do have a waiting list that you can add your name to. But hopefully, you know, within the next 30 days, I'll be I'll have some availability.
Okay. The reason why I asked because I was hoping to provide you guys' contact information.
Okay.
Maybe I could have the hubby type it in. I don't know. If not, sorry to put you on the spot, dear. But if not, if you can't type it in, then maybe we can go back and I can put it on the page for people to see. But if you're sort of like kind of booked up, then I don't have to provide it. But if people want to ask you questions directly, can they have your email or is there a good way to contact you?
Yes, absolutely. You can reach me through email at info@therapyworksbyangelahill.com. If you have any questions, I'm very open. If you have questions about therapy or anything else, I try to provide as much education as I can to community, so please feel free to contact me.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Angela. Amaris, what about you? Are you accepting clients at this time?
So not at this time. I'm completely full. I imagine, as she said, in about a month or so, I may have a few openings, and I can be reached at, if you're interested or have any questions for me, info@prackkind.com. So that's prackkind.com.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? Feel free.
And I definitely want to say, just because we don't have openings right this second, don't let that keep you from contacting us, because we, I feel free to provide referrals to other therapists that I know.
Yeah, definitely.
And I can hopefully point you in the right direction. So
definitely. And you can always look on psychologytoday.com, therapyforblackgirls.com, goodtherapy.org.com, type in your zip code, refine your search based on insurance if that's what you're looking for, and even your specific reason for coming to therapy.
Right. And even if you don't have insurance, there are other ways and other means and resources for you to get low-cost therapy, mental health services. So one of the ones that pops up on the top of my head is Open Path Collective, and they provide affordable mental health care if you don't have insurance. So, and I'm on that panel as well.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that would be a good place to start. And so if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach me.
Other resources or tips?
I think that's it. That's all I have for now.
Okay, so now you guys know what these credentials mean, and so now you can go and find a great therapist and just feel confident that the folks that you're choosing have training and know what they're doing. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to more collaboration with these ladies in particular, but across disciplines. I think that sometimes there's a competitive sort of vibe, and I think it needs to be more collaborative. I'm definitely about collaboration, and because we all have so many different strengths and experiences that can be really helpful and effective for people.
Definitely.
So I'm grateful, and I guess the hour of breakthrough is really a half hour of breakthrough tonight, since we didn't have as many questions. But hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you got what you needed tonight, and you feel a little bit more informed, educated regarding mental health providers. I'm hoping to do a part 2 to this. I'm hoping that I can get a psychiatrist.
That'd be great.
Perhaps a life coach.
That would be really great.
To talk
Definitely.
to us.
Definitely.
So stay tuned for who can help part 2. All right. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
one.